Week 2 of the NFL season is in the books, and this season's weird, man. Just a lot of things that we thought we are not going according to plan. A lot of teams that we thought are going to be good are not good right now. A lot of teams we thought were going to be bad are doing well right now. It's just a weird season. Welcome to the Pylon Cam. Thanks for tuning in. If it's your first time, just a little disclaimer. I do my power rankings based off of how I feel teams played versus their opponents. Not so much the result of the game. It's more of how I think what this team does well versus what the other team does well and how they stack up. Not so much who wins, who loses, etc. So if you ever see a team that won move down or a team that lost move up, that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. I try to think of the long term rather than the short term, like a lot of these other sites, websites, YouTube channels do with their power rankings. But with all that being said, yeah, thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to the Pylon Cam, and let's get into these power rankings. If you've watched these power rankings, I'm going to try to keep this into a condensed version rather than a 1 hour version. So I'm going to try to go a little bit quicker than I normally do. If you like the longer version, then I'll go back to it. So leave a comment, drop a comment. Also, I'm totally cool with you commenting your opinion if my take is wrong or my opinion's wrong, because there's no way for me to read every article, watch every game, watch every player interview, coach interview, everything like that. So if there's something that you know about your team that I don't, then please go ahead and drop a comment and let me know so I can adjust moving forward. But with that being said, let's talk about the Bears for a second. I got the Bears at 32, previously ranked, I think, 26th. You can't win games throwing 11 times. And I think that what this team is doing is a huge disservice to Justin Fields. I think that's the overall arching theme of the Bears. This coaching staff, this general manager, they've just completely decided to not build around Justin Fields for this year, and they wanted to build their defense up first. They brought in a defensive-minded head coach in Matt Eberflus. So I don't know. I think that this team is just setting Justin Fields up for failure. It seems like they're just going to ride him out, see what he could do, see if they could develop him potentially next year, and if not, just draft their own quarterback. But with that being said, I don't think that this Bears team really has any identity, or they're not even trying to make an identity on offense, and I think that they're really going to flounder moving forward. You can't attempt 11 passes or even bank on a monsoon to beat a team. Not that anybody had any expectation for them to beat the Packers, and we really got to stop putting Packers-Bears on Monday Night Football because it's just the Packers beating the crap out of the Bears and all of us watch. But this team, they definitely need to figure out something on offense. They're not featuring Darnell Mooney. They're not trying to get anything going in the passing game. Like I said, 11 pass attempts are not enough. Until the Bears try to figure something out like on offense, I think they're going to stay at the bottom of the NFL. I had the Bears at rank 28, not 26. But at rank 31, I got the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons have done well. They haven't done anything bad, and I'm not going to move them down, or I actually didn't move them anywhere. They're previously ranked 31. The thing with me with the Falcons is Arthur Smith has to do a better job play calling wise in featuring the right players. Drake London looks elite. He's featured Drake London quite a bit, which is very good for the offense, and it's produced good outcomes. Like featuring Drake London, who would have thought your best wide receiver would produce a good outcome for your offense? But to not feature Kyle Pitts at all is just really a head scratcher. You had Kyle Pitts one-on-one coverage against the Rams on that Hail Mary at the end of the game, and you throw it to Bryan Edwards. Like, that's the stuff that keeps Atlanta Falcons out of games. Like, that's the stuff that keeps them at rank 31, where they score points, but they lose games. Like, that's what bad teams do, is find ways to lose games, and only throwing 3 targets, only giving Kyle Pitts 3 targets, that's a way to lose games. That's also a way to get fired. This general management, this front office put a 4th-round pick, the highest drafted tight end ever, and his comments were, "I don't care about your fantasy team." Well, you don't care about our fantasy teams, but you're also losing. You also don't care about winning, apparently. So, Falcons at 31. I don't see them moving up anytime soon unless they could. Their offense isn't bad either. Like, that's the other thing, is like this offense has potential with Mariota. It's just you're featuring Cordero Patterson over Kyle Pitts, which makes no sense at all. So with that being said, I got the Falcons at 31. Next up, I got the Carolina Panthers. They lose a nail-biter to the New York Giants. The Giants have been playing well, but the Panthers just... I've said this before, and I'm not going to harp on this point, but people went from, Baker makes this Panthers team, but they might make a run for the division, to they might win the wild card, to they will win the division with Tom Brady in it and the New Orleans Saints, whose team is just way better than theirs. Baker looked awful against the Giants, and the Giants are missing 2 key players on defense. He couldn't do anything on offense. Matt Rule and I think Ben McAdoo is a very underratedly bad signing. We're not talking about how bad that signing was. And I just think the Panthers, they have no identity. If they can't get C-Mac going, they have nothing to do on offense. They had 2 fumbles, a special teams fumble, and Robbie Anderson fumbled. And Baker just looked bad. All of his stats were bad. I watched this game. He was bad. He's missing throws, and players are dropping. I'm not going to put it all on Baker. Shi Smith dropped a few passes. The fumbles didn't help, but this game plan is bad. I think Matt Rule is going to get fired by probably week 5, if that, maybe sooner. But with that being said, I got the Panthers at 30. At rank 29, previously 25, I got the Seattle Seahawks. I think I moved them up way too high because I was really excited for them that they beat Denver, because I know that was a huge game for them. They got Kenneth Walker back, but this is a team again, I think that their Super Bowl, they already won their Super Bowl. They already beat the Denver Broncos. This team is not good. They're not good on offense. They're not good on defense. And they're just going to need, they need to rebuild. They have some good pieces, and I think Kenneth Walker is a good piece. I think DK Metcalf is a huge piece for the quarterback of the future that they inevitably draft. I think Charles Cross is going to be a great left tackle. I think they're playing him at right tackle right now, if I'm not mistaken. I just think that this team the expectations for this team need to be reasonable, and I think that we all know what they are. Even though they beat Denver, I think I had Denver way too high in the beginning, and I'll admit that I was definitely wrong about Denver. I think Nathaniel Hackett looks terrible, but we'll talk about Denver when we get to them. But Seattle at 29, previously 25. I just think that this is another team where they're a bad team. They could flash on offense with Geno Smith, but I don't think we should derail our expectations because they had one good game against Denver. At rank 28, previously 26, I got the Houston Texans. I think this team is better than a lot of people realize. They're not good, but they're better. I think Nico Collins, Brandon Cooks, Dameon Pierce, and Davis Mills are all pretty good. It's a pretty good offense. They just need to find a way to score points, and they were able to score points last year. So I'm not sure what difference they've made on offense that they can't score more than 9 points against a struggling Denver team. Which, truth be told, they do have a good defense, and they did score a lot. Actually, I'm wrong. They scored a lot of points on the Colts in week 1, and they were, I think it was 20-3 at one point in that game. I think that this team just needs to find a way to score more points, and I think they will. I think this team by week 6 or so might be in contention to win this division. The Titans look bad, the Colts look bad, and the Jaguars actually look pretty good. I think the Texans have pieces to make some noise this year. We'll see how they pan out. I think coaching's going to have a lot to do with it, but I'm definitely keeping a close eye on the Texans. I don't think they're nearly as bad as people think. At rank 27, previously 32, I got the New York Jets. Gutsy win, and the Jets are not 1-0. They're 1-1. That's a mistake. But gutsy win by the Jets. I think that Robert Saleh did make the comment of when this offense clicks, you'll see how explosive it is. And they did have some explosive plays in that fourth quarter. I also think Garrett Wilson might be... It's tough, because I think that Drake London is the best receiver of the rookie class. And I think Jahan Dotson's also really, really good. I think this is just a really good rookie class for the receivers, but Garrett Wilson looks insane. And he's also separating above league average as a rookie. He had 14 targets in this game, and they just need to keep feeding him. They need to keep feeding this kid the ball because he's getting open. He looks good when he has the ball. His routes look good. He's producing when he has the ball. Just keep feeding Garrett Wilson. The thing that I'm keeping an eye on is if this offense clicks next week, right, and they look good this week against the Bengals, who they beat last year, and then Zach Wilson comes back and it goes backwards. That's going to be an interesting conversation. and that's something I'm watching. I got the Jets at 27. They are 1-1, not 1-0. Previously ranked 32nd. And I think the Jets defense is good. I was at the Jets-Baltimore game week 1, and they looked fine. Their defense looked good. They held off that Ravens offense for a long time, held it off better than the Miami Dolphins did. Joe Douglas has done a very phenomenal job building out this roster. I think they just need – we'll see what they have on offense, and we'll see what Robert Saleh is truly made of. But we will see. We will see with the Jets. At rank 26, previously 22nd, I got the Tennessee Titans. They are now 0-2 after falling to the Buffalo Bills. And they're not moving down because they lost to the Buffalo Bills. It's how they lost to the Buffalo Bills. They got beat so bad they took their starters out. And this is just bad. Like, this. I think from the draft, I said that I've been saying this all offseason. The Titans are one of the most overrated teams in the NFL. Not anymore. Everybody knows what they are now, but like not anymore. Coming in week 1, losing to the Giants. This all started when they traded A.J. Brown in hopes they were drafting A.J. Brown. That made that still does not make sense when I say it out loud. The offensive line is bad. They didn't give the offensive line any help, which also was a very bad pass blocking unit last year. Phenomenal run blocking unit, but now it's just bad. It's bad pass blocker, it's pass run blocking. Derrick Henry can't do anything, and Ryan Tannehill looks lost. So until the Titans can kind of figure out their identity, and hopefully Derrick Henry rebounds, because I have him in a ton of fantasy leagues, this team's just bad. Like they haven't done any. They generate pressure, but that's about it. If you play the Bills, it doesn't matter. Clearly, they dropped 41 on them. They even lost to the Giants, and they were pressuring Daniel Jones on 56% of his dropbacks. So can't produce on offense. They can't stop anything on defense. Not a good start for the Titans at 26. Cowboys fans, I want you to look at this picture because this is the entirety of your team. Previously ranked 27th, now ranked 25th. I got the Dallas Cowboys. They're 1-1 after beating the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah, Micah Parsons is not real. Like, I think if I'm him, if I'm the coach of this team, the biggest weakness in Micah Parsons' game is when he drops back in coverage. I'm just gonna line him up off the edge and send him every play. And if I do need him to drop back in coverage, it's from the edge position, which is a way safer bet than when he's playing at his traditional role of inside linebacker. But Micah Parsons, I think, might be the best defensive player in the game right now. And that's no disrespect to Aaron Donald. He just plays a more valuable position, and he's dominating. He's dominating every single rep. And he just single-handedly can stop drives, which is just incredible to watch. He's just insane. I think he will single-handedly keep the Cowboys in contention until Dak comes back, and he might be able to beat the Giants by himself. I think if you're a Giants fan, you're watching this, the biggest concern for that game is Micah Parsons, no question. It's not the offense, it's not the Cowboys offense, it's just how much does Micah Parsons stop the Giants offense, which has been pretty bad. It's not been good, and it's not been bad, it's just meh. It's just, they're just grinding out wins. So Cowboys fans at 1-1, good win over the Bengals. But if anything happens to Micah Parsons, y'all are you already are kind of done. But now you'll be done. But yeah, Cowboys at 25. At rank 24, previously 21, I got the New Orleans Saints. I think the concern with the Saints, and I said this last week, not the concern. I said last week that Jameis has been playing phenomenal football since he's taken the reins as the Saints starting quarterback. Was this game. When Jameis looks like the Tampa Bay Jameis. That's when the Saints, it doesn't matter how good your defense is. You turn the ball over 3 times. It doesn't matter. Now, I'm not going to, okay, and, if you're a Saints fan and you're watching this, I just want to say this if this is your first time tuning in to the Pylon Cam. The Saints were a very hard team for me to judge this offseason because, on paper, their defense is really, really good, and on paper, their offense is really, really good. It's just there's so many question marks. What does Michael Thomas look like? What does Alvin Kamara look like? What does Chris Olave look like? What does this line look like? Just a lot of question marks. And I still don't, I truly don't think the Saints are a 24th worst team. I don't. But if Jameis is going to play like that, then yeah, because it doesn't matter. Michael Thomas has looked good. Kamara has, if you need to feature Kamara more. He's your best player on offense, no matter how good Michael Thomas is. He still hasn't played football in 2 years. Kamara has been here dominating every year. So they need to keep Kamara in the game longer, and Jameis needs to go back to playing good football and protecting the football. Good quarterback play, protect the ball. I think the Saints will be fine. I think they're not a 24th ranked team. It's just after week 2 and after a performance like that, I'm still kind of iffy on them, and that was just a bad performance against a very elite defense. So I'm moving them down. There's definitely an argument to be made that I moved them down too low, and I already had them too low. But I want to see. This is a team I just want to. I want to watch play more. Like, I don't think that they're actually this bad. I just want to see them play games, what their identity turns into, and things like that. At rank 23, previously ranked 20, I have the Cleveland Browns. This was just a coaching debacle. Like, this team is very good. This roster is very good. It's hard for me to put them where I want to put them because of their quarterback. Like, if Deshaun was playing, they're a top 10 team to me, no question. But with Jacoby Brissett and the limitations he puts on the offense, something like a coaching mistake of clock mismanagement, you lose to the Jets. Like, that's kind of my argument for why I have the Browns so low is they're a good team, but they can't make mistakes because of their quarterback. Like if anything happens to Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt, it's gonna be a problem for the Browns. And this is a game, like, in my opinion, they needed to win because then the timer only goes to 8 more weeks until Deshaun comes back, and you're 2-0. And the division is bad, right? Not bad, but it's up for grabs. Nobody's 2-0 in the AFC North. The Steelers are 1-1. The Ravens are 1-1. The Browns are 1-1, and the Bengals are 0-2. Like, the Browns would have been at the top of the division. That's why I think the room for error for the Browns is so small. And if Kevin Stefanski just manages the clock better, like, yeah, there's plenty of time left, but takes it, like, kneel the ball, burn the clock, have them use their timeouts, because then even if everything goes right in that comeback, there's not enough time. That came down to the wire, and there still wasn't, like, there was barely enough time. If they just chew out 30 seconds, another minute, another 2 minutes of that game, they win. The Jets lose, and there's not enough time for the comeback. So I think the Browns are a very good football team. It's just hard to rank them high because of stupid things like that. Like, those things can't happen or you lose to the Jets. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with the Browns. So I got the Browns at 23. I think they're good. Like, I think they'll move up, but they're a very one-dimensional team right now, and stupid errors like that, you'll lose to the Jets. At rank 22, previously 29, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars were my second biggest sleeper team coming into 2022. I thought Doug Peterson was a phenomenal hiring, not talked about enough. We all kind of forgot who Trevor Lawrence was after last year, just because everybody kind of put the Jaguars out of their mind. Like, it was just, they have Urban Meyer and they're bad. And that kind of was a storyline. But I think that they're a team that now has a potent offense. And I don't mean like potent as in the sense of like they're going to come out and drop a 30 bomb on you every week, but Trevor Lawrence went 25 for 30 and had his best game of his career against the Colts, who we all thought were like, I feel dumb for how high I had the Colts, because like for me, I think that you have like really until week 4, when we see teams really form their identity, there will be a lot of movement in power rankings, and everybody had the Colts high. Like, I thought the Colts were going to run away with this division. Matt Ryan was supposed to fix all their problems, and they are trash right now. They're the bottom of the league in points scored. And the Jaguars have the best quarterback in this division. Like, right now, today, September 21st, Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in the AFC South. It's not close. It's not Ryan Tannehill. It's not Matt Ryan. It is Trevor Lawrence. So if they could keep rolling on offense, I think this is going to be a really annoying team to play down the stretch, especially for teams looking to get into the wild card. Can the Jaguars run away with this division? Probably not. Can they win it? Maybe. The Titans are 0-2. The Colts are 0-1-1, and the Texans are 0-1-1. They're the only team with a win in the division. I'm excited for the Jaguars. I hope that they do. I hope they do win this division, because it'll be a cool story. And you know, Trevor Lawrence. We're all going to remember like why Trevor Lawrence was one of the best quarterback prospects since Andrew Luck. So Jags at 22. At 21, previously 24, I have the Washington Commanders. Even though they lost this week, the Commanders are scoring a ton of points. I think they've scored 30 points in both games, the past 2 games they played. they've really revamped this offense to a pass-first modern offense. And Jahan Dotson, if you watch my mock draft videos, he's probably my favorite receiver in this draft. Not that he's the best, but I think that he was such an underrated talent. For me personally, it didn't surprise me that he went as high as he did. It was more of a surprise that Washington took him. Also, my player comp for him was Terry McLaurin. And that's in the mock draft videos. I said it over and over and over again. He's just he could be such an elite receiver. Like, he was all of Penn State's offense, and he could not be stopped. And everybody knew that. Like, it wasn't a surprise. Carson Wentz is going to Carson Wentz, which is why it's hard for me to rank this team high. And I don't really fault them for losing to the Lions, because the Lions are a good team. But, like, they are a good offense. Their defense is kind of floundering right now. They've let 30 points or higher be scored on them in the past 2 games, I'm pretty sure. And Chase Young is still working his way back. But I think the Commanders, like, they're not necessarily a good team, but their offense is actually surprisingly good. It's surprisingly, I don't want to say efficient, because Carson Wentz is going to turn the ball over, but they are really doing a good job at scoring points. Which is something I did not expect for the Commanders. So I got the Commanders at 21, definitely keeping an eye on them. Excited for Brian Robinson to come back. At rank 20, previously 17, I got the Steelers. I think this team is going to just ride Mitch Trubisky until they get close to the bye. Short week this week, so that's probably why they're not rolling out Kenny Pickett this week. And then I think they play the Bills. They play a very good team, which I feel like they don't want to roll Kenny Pickett into that game for his first game. I think they're going to go into the bye with with Trubisky, and then roll Pickett out after the bye, because I think they have like a week 6 bye, week 6 or week 5. Correct me if I'm wrong, Steelers fan, in the comments. I just struggle to figure out what the Steelers team does well. Like, Najee Harris looks really bad, and that's not solely on him. Mitch Trubisky obviously looks bad, but, like, how much better does his passing offense look with Kenny Pickett? You could argue a lot better, and I think that he's going to kind of rely heavily on Deontay Johnson and Pickens, and you're going to see Claypool kind of, like, not phase out of the offense, but I think he's going to become more of, like, a situational receiver, where Pickens and Deontay Johnson and Freiermuth even are going to become the focal point of the offense, and hopefully when they're able to extend the ball down the field with Pickett, that kind of helps Najee Harris out some. It's just a tough spot for me with the Steelers, because they're such a well-coached team that it's, like, really hard for me to always... It's always hard for me to rank the Steelers low, because they're such a well-coached team and they will find ways to win no matter what. But I think that this was a game against the Patriots where it really kind of just showed, like, the deficiencies on offense until they get Trubisky out of there. No shots at Trubisky. It's just he is what he is, and he's struggling right now, and missing throws, and it's costing them games. So I got the Steelers at 20. I think they're going to be a team that could potentially climb their way up if Pickett is kind of as advertised. I guess that's the right way to put it. I just think he's going to add a different element to this offense that Trubisky just doesn't have. So I got Steelers at 20. At rank 19, I got the previously 23. I got the New England Patriots. This is a team. Their identity is their defense. They run the ball. They want to be a team that runs the ball, controls the clock, and wins game from defense. But they're only the 19th best rushing offense in the NFL. So, like, they're not good at what they want to be good at, and their receivers aren't separating. Nelson Aguilar makes one good play and they win that game. Like, that's how boring and it's just not a good time to be a Pats fan. I feel like you're not used to this. Like, you're grinding out wins, and, like, definitely miss Josh McDaniels. Definitely miss him. I think Damian Harris got hurt at the end of that game. I saw a tweet about that. So the ball will be in Ramondre Stevenson's hands. Maybe we see Pierre Strong featured, who is crazy fast. I just think unless they could open up this passing offense, they are not going to be able to, like, you can't keep pace with the Dolphins or the Bills. So you're not going to win the division, and you can't make the wild card not being able to push the ball down the field. Maybe Aguilar revives his career in New England. But I got the Patriots at 19. They did beat the Steelers. It's just a weird. It's just a weird spot, right? Like, because like coaching's not an advantage for them right now. Like it is because they have Bill Belichick, but it's not as big of an advantage because they're so like they have so many other deficiencies on offense. Like their defense, by every statistic, looks great right now, but their offense, their best metric is rushing the ball, and they only rank 19th. Everything else is lower than that. So like they're not good at running the ball, and they're really bad at passing the ball. So we'll see with the Pats. I got them at 19. This is another team I'm keeping my eye on because I want to see how they kind of maneuver and try to make their way forward. At rank 18, previously 10, I got the Colts. I think Matt Ryan forgot what color uniform he was wearing this past weekend, and forgot what team he got traded to. The Colts just are, and like it's hard for me to be harsh on the Colts because this roster is loaded, and they are plagued with injury right now. I think I know Michael Pittman was out. I know DeForest Buckner's out. I think, and there's one other person out, one key player out that I'm just blanking on. They're just not scoring points, and it's like you blamed everything on Carson Wentz. He goes to Washington, and they're scoring tons of points. Sure, he's still turning the ball over, but they're at least scoring. Like with Matt Ryan, this is the worst. The Colts have scored the lowest points in the NFL. They're averaging 10 points per game. It's just wild to me. Like it's just crazy to me that this team is so talented, and Matt Ryan was supposed to be this upgrade, and they're just not doing anything. Now, I'm trying to be like reasonable and understand that like Alec Pierce was out, Michael Pittman was out, so okay, you're throwing to Ashton Doolin and Paris Campbell, but like, or not Paris Campbell, Zach Pascal or Paris Campbell, I'm forgetting. One of them's on the Eagles. It's just weird. Like, this team should be so much better. The roster should be so much better, being that this was a team that everybody was scared to play in the playoffs last year. They lose to the Jaguars, get rid of Carson Wentz, and now they're 0-1-1 in a division that's wide open. So, like, it's just weird. The Colts are weird for me. I'm not panicking about them yet. We're going to get to, like, a chunk of teams where, like, they're ranked kind of low, but I'm not panicking about them yet. The Colts are a team, like, I'm not panicking because how bad their division is, but it's just weird. Like, this is a team I'm watching, like, you would think logically they were going to turn this around, but time will tell. At rank 17, previously ranked 7, I got the Denver Broncos. This is a team that I'm just going to admit I was wrong about. I had them originally power ranked 4 coming into this season. I thought this defense was elite, which it's not bad. Like, the defense is not bad, and it's still above average. But this offense, man, like, you paid Russell Wilson how much money, and he's getting you what? 19 points a game? 17 points a game, and you're taking him off the field on 4th down. Like, this is a coaching debacle, but it also is Russell Wilson's fault. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, Russell Wilson's supposed to be this fourth quarter, like, god, and he's not, like, he's being paid more than Nathaniel Hackett. He is one of the highest ranking individuals in all of the Denver organization. He has enough say to be like, Coach, we're going for this on 4th down. Coach, call a timeout. Coach, what are we doing? Why are we taking so many delay of game penalties? Why isn't Javonte on the field? Like, these are all things that I kind of am looking at Russell Wilson and being like, yo, like, you can do that. Like, you can stop this from happening. Like, look at what Tom Brady did with Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians would call a play, and Tom Brady would say, no, we're running this one. Like, get off the field. Like, he would coach Bruce Arians. Like, Russell Wilson needs to start doing that because Nathaniel Hackett clearly can't run the ship. Like, that's where I'm at with the Broncos. Like, it's Nathaniel Hackett's fault, but it's also Russell Wilson's fault for not taking the reins. Like, do what Tom Brady did. Tell Bruce Arians to go grab some pine. Go get a water bottle. Because sometimes, like, coaches, like I guess this shouldn't be shocking either, because if we really think about it, like, we really were on the 2-yard line in the Super Bowl, and Marshawn Lynch is averaging 5 yards a carry. It's 2nd down, and we want to throw the ball. Like, if that was me, as much as I would want the glory, like, yo, we're giving it to Marshawn. We're running a power. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. The Broncos are frustrating for me because I had such high expectations for them. I didn't have them winning the division, but I thought they were going to do way better than they are, and it just doesn't make sense. Like, it's coaching, but it's also like Russell Wilson, like, should be better, in my opinion. He also should be way better at what he's been good at in scrambling and making things, kind of like what Kyler Murray does, but like the older version of that, if that makes sense. But anyway, yeah, I'm sorry, that was a rant, but I got the Broncos at 17. At rank 16, I have the Cincinnati Bengals, previously ranked 8. Another team I'm not worried about, but I'm worried about because, like, they lost to Cooper Rush. And, like, I'm not trying to overreact to that, but the concern for me is, like, this was a team that was not expected to win last year, and they're coming into games expected to win, and they lose to the Steelers and the Cowboys without Dak. And their offense is just missing, and Joe Burrow somehow looks worse. Their offensive line somehow looks the same, and Jamar Chase is getting locked up by Trayvon Diggs. Like, it just, nothing makes sense. Like, none of this makes sense. Joe Burrow's running it. Like, I was looking at I was listening to a podcast, actually, and there is a fair criticism that Joe Burrow is, like, yeah, the offensive line is bad, but Joe Burrow is running into sacks. So, I don't know what's happening with the Bengals. I'm not panicking about them. They're not a 16th ranked team, and I think Zach Taylor might have gotten too much credit for the Super Bowl run last year. And I did, when we were doing the podcast, which is going to be revived very soon, like, we're going to get the podcast back up, I thought Zach Taylor was a bad coach, and now I was like, okay, I was wrong. But now I'm sitting here and I'm like, was I wrong? Because, like, the Bengals are like a juggernaut of a team on offense and defense, and they are just, it's not clicking. And, like, I'm not so much concerned on the offensive line because offensive lines need time to gel. And this is a new offensive line unit. But then you look at Joe Burrow and it's like, okay, he's taking steps backwards. Like, I don't know. Bengals are weird for me, man. Like, it's just, it seems like they should be blowing teams out like they were last year, where Joe Burrow's throwing for 300, 400 yards a game, and he's just, like, he threw how many picks against Cincinnati? How many picks did he throw against Dallas? Like, I don't know. The Bengals are confusing for me because, like, they're just moving backwards, and it doesn't seem like there's an end in sight to it until this offensive line is until this offensive line gets some chemistry. But I got the Bengals at 16. I expect them to move up. At rank 15, I got the New York Giants, and at the previously ranked 18. Admittedly, like, I didn't want to move the Giants up. I wanted to keep them at 18, but so many other teams are playing bad that I had to move them up. Like, they're a product of other teams moving down. They have played an easy schedule. They had an impressive, I don't care what anybody says, them beating the Titans is impressive. I expected them to beat Carolina. The Giants were my biggest sleeper coming into 2022. Wink Martindale and this defense is winning games. Daniel Jones isn't playing bad. He's not playing good either. But this is a new scheme. There's a new ensemble of receivers and a new ensemble of offensive linemen every single week. So I'm not going to put all the blame on Daniel Jones. But he's doing things where he's running into sacks as well. And the things he did well, he's doing bad, which is concerning. So I think this is a team that, like, if they could keep grinding out wins, by the time they're clicking, they're going to be a really annoying team to play later in the season. Because if let's just say, like, let's play devil's advocate, and let's say Brian Daboll does get something out of Daniel Jones. Like, he awakens, like, he can get that consistency of the flashes we saw with Daniel Jones, and this defense is healthy because now they're going to they haven't played a game with Kayvon Thibodeau or Azeez Ojulari, and Leonard Williams is now out. When they're healthy, and if Evan Neal takes a step some point this season and their offensive line is in sync, and their receivers are playing, they're paying $72 million to Kenny Golladay to do nothing. This is going to be a really annoying team to play down the stretch. Like, they are going to be annoying. They're not going to beat the Eagles for the division. That's not going to happen. But they're going to be a 9 to 10 win team, an 8 to 10 win team, and they're going to be super annoying to play. That's what I think about the Giants. They're well coached. That was the biggest reason why I thought they were a sleeper, is they've assembled one of the best coaching staffs in the NFL with Brian Daboll, Wink Martindale, and Mike Kafka. They've rebuilt the offensive line. They've had talent. They just haven't had a coach. And we'll see if Daboll could do anything with Jones. Like, if he could get something out of Daniel Jones, like, this team's going to be annoying to play. But Giants at 15. At rank 14, previously ranked 13, I got the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't care. Like, this is what annoys me about power rankings is, like, some people, like, will, like, TPS, like, they'll see 0-2 for the Raiders and put them at, like, 32. And that just, like, doesn't make any sense because it's still a good roster. They've played some annoying game. Like, they played like, them playing the Chargers didn't really move them anywhere for me, but them blowing a 20-point lead to the Cardinals, that one was a head scratcher because, like, this is where I'm at with the Raiders. They like, my biggest concern with them was the offensive line. Yes, like, that should have been everybody's concern with the Raiders. But now it's like we have Josh Jacobs, who looks like he's playing the best football of his career, averaging highs in yards per carry, and he's running like the most routes he's ever ran in his career, and we're not featuring him, which I said last week, like, you got to give Jacobs the ball more. And then, in overtime, against a bad Cardinals secondary, we're throwing to Hunter Renfrow instead of Devontae Adams. And now it's like, all right, Josh McDaniels had a head coaching stint once. It didn't go well. Is history going to repeat himself with the Raiders? Because the Raiders are a talented team. They're a resilient team. They overcame more crap that they needed to last year. Or, I'm sorry, than they should have last year with the Henry Ruggs, John Gruden stuff. Like, the Raiders should be 1-1 right now. And, like, that's kind of inexcusable. And, like, I love Hunter Renfrow. I think he's a very good player. Him fumbling twice is kind of wild. Like, that. What are the odds of that? But, like, you can't let Kyler Murray come down and do that to you twice. Like, the rushing touchdown, 2-point conversion. Like, I think I counted, and, like, this is me counting, so it's a rough number, but he had 17 seconds, 15 or 17 seconds on that play where and he ran 85 yards. Like, that's not acceptable. And that's kind of where I think the Raiders are going to hurt themselves. Is like, there are these games where you're like, your coaching is pretty poor, and then you're doing things like on defense and on offense where you're feeding Hunter Renfrow instead of Devontae Adams. Like, Devontae Adams had, 14 targets in the first game, and then he went to 3? It's just weird. Like, it's at some point, like, you just got to do what Matt Stafford does and throw it at Cooper Kupp. Like, throw it at Devontae Adams. Throw it at him. I think the Raiders are just, like, they're so talented, and they're so talented I don't want to move them down any lower than 14, but, like, dude, what the heck? Like, what the heck? Raiders at 14. At rank 13, I got the Detroit Lions. I don't care what anybody says. The Lions are a good football team. They are the third best running offense in the NFL. They have arguably the best offensive line in the NFL. Jared Goff is cooking. Amon-Ra St. Brown is cooking. And if you get into a shootout with them, they're not going to go down lightly. Like, this is a team where we've all made fun of Dan Campbell for, you're going to bite our kneecaps off. And now he's, like, got the team ready to bite kneecaps off. Like, I'm not kidding. Crazy stuff. Like, I think this team is, like, actually going to be super, like, this team, I'm going to say it. They could win the division. And everything's crazy until it happens. I got laughed at when I said the Giants were sleepers and they're 2-0. I got laughed at when I said the Lions could finish second in this division. They're 1-1. They're tied with the Packers and Vikings. And Bears. Everybody's 1-1 in this division. But the Lions are good. The Lions are a good football team, and they're well coached. Dan Campbell is a good coach. I don't care what anybody says anymore. This is not based off of Hard Knocks. Dan Campbell is a good coach. Jared Goff looks very good. Like, this is the best Jared Goff. Jared Goff looks better now than he did on the Rams. I don't care what anybody says. So I think the Lions are sneaky good. I think everybody's admitting they're better than what they have been, but they are now sneaky good. They were previously ranked 19th, in case I forgot to say that. They score points. They could score through the air, and they can score on the ground with Swift and Jamal Williams. They are a good team. I don't care. They could win that division. Lions at 13. Okay, now it's time to talk about the most frustrating team in the NFL to me, the Arizona Cardinals. This is a team where, like, you win a game, and then you got Cliff Kingsbury, like, I wish we could start that hot from the beginning. Like, this team is so talented. They are so talented. Kyler Murray is so talented. But it's like they don't care. Like, it just seems like this team does not care. Like, they're just like, and this is kind of my argument too. Like, we all forget how much of a poverty franchise the Cardinals were post Kurt Warner to Kyler Murray. Like, and then they get Kyler Murray, and it's like all is good and well, and Cliff Kingsbury is going to get extended for absolutely no reason. Like, they extended Cliff Kingsbury for no reason. For absolutely no reason. Should Kyler Murray have gotten paid? Most definitely. Should Cliff Kingsbury have gotten paid? Absolutely not, in my opinion. Cliff Kingsbury is one of the worst coaches in the NFL. Massive fraud. He has had loaded rosters, and all of a sudden, he's on the hot seat. Like, when have we ever seen a coach get paid and immediately put on the hot seat? Like, if he lost to the Raiders, people would have been calling for his job, but people are already calling for his job. I think he's got to stop blaming players and start taking more accountability himself. Because we're seeing what good coaching does to teams. Like, compare the Cardinals roster to the Giants. They're not even in the same universe, but yet one has a better record. You could argue because of the opponents, but I would rather argue the coaching staff is just much, much better. And they have the players thinking, like, believing a certain thing where, like, all we hear about the Cardinals is Kyler Murray plays COD and Cliff Kingsbury is bad. Like, that's all I could, like, I don't know, man. The Cardinals are weird, and they're really frustrating for me to talk about because it just, they should be, like I said last year, they were one of the most talented teams at football, and they just imploded. Like, that's what Cliff Kingsbury has done since college, is just imploded. So it's just hard for me to trust the Cardinals. I want to rank them high, but, like, this is as high as I can rank them for right now, I think. So I'm going to keep them at 12, keep a close eye on them, see how they stack up in the coming weeks. I really don't want to say this, but I'm going to say it. The 49ers are a better team now, and I hate saying that because, you know, you never wish injury upon anybody, and I should definitely have started with wishing Trey Lance a speedy recovery. But I got the 49ers at 11, previously ranked 14. I'm not moving them up because they beat the Seahawks. But now they have, like, this team, literally, like, and, like, ask yourself this. Where did you have the 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo starting? Because in my brain, at least a divisional round. And then where did you have them with Trey Lance? Maybe the wild card if everything goes right. Like, they're not winning that division. And with the Rams sputtering, like, they could definitely win that division now if they stay hot. I think that this team just is going to go back to what it does best. It's going to be a traditional offense, and, like, Debo is going to take over that role he had last year. Brandon Ayuk has been the only form of continuity of this offense since training camp. And the line is good. The defense is, like, this is a Super Bowl roster, man. You put Jimmy Garoppolo back in it, like, they're going to the divisional round of the playoffs, and they could win this division now. Like, everything changes. They're a better team than they were. So I got the Niners at 11. I'm going to keep a close eye on them as well. At rank 10, another team, admittedly, I did not want to move up, but I did. Because other teams moved up. Other teams moved down. I'm not moving them up because I beat the Bears. There's really nothing to say about them. They've done everything I expected so far. I didn't expect them to have a bad week one, but, like, I also just knew they were going to be fine. If you followed the Instagram page, I said they were going to be fine. Like, there's no need to worry about the Packers. I just think that the only thing to talk about is, like, they're going to rely on A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones more and more each week until these receivers get up to speed. If they get up to speed, at this point, it just seems like Aaron Rodgers is so fed up with them that he doesn't even want to get them up to speed. So Packers at 1-1, they're going to be fine. They're going to be the Packers. They're going to win a lot of games in the regular season. We'll see what they look like in the playoffs. I think they're going to actually flop in the playoffs. And reason being is they just get weird in the playoffs. Like, they always have such high expectations, and then they just poop themselves. Like, it happens every single year. So they won 13 games the past 3 years and then just flop in the first or second round of the playoffs. Oh, I'm sorry, no. They did go to the divisional, the championship against the Bucks. But, again, like, that was a coaching error. Why are we taking Aaron Rodgers off the field? Why are we kicking a field goal? But I got the Packers at 10. They're going to be fine. They're just going to keep winning games. They're probably going to float around 10 and move up. But we'll see. Packers at 10. At rank 9, previously ranked 15, I have the Miami Dolphins. I think Mike McDaniels is legit, and I don't think that is even an argument anymore. and I've said this, and when the podcast comes back, this is going to be a talking point, so I'm just warning you. Something I have been saying is the Dolphins are going to have to come to a point this season or after this season and say, did we take Tua that far or did Tua take us that far? Wherever they finish. And, like, newsflash, the first 3 quarters of that game, Tua was terrible. He had, like, 1 touchdown and 2 picks. At the end of the game, you have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill flying down the field, doing what they are meant to do, and Tua is underthrowing touchdowns, which is fine because he's scoring touchdowns. I'm not trying to take anything away from Tua, but I just think that this is, like, someone compared Tua to Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think that is a fine comparison. Tua is a distributor. He's doing his job. He's going to do it well. Can they, like, if Lamar is like, hey, I'm not playing on the franchise tag and the Dolphins are going to trade the barn for me, I'm going to Miami, is anybody really going to be like, nah, Tua? Like, I'm just saying, like, this is a Ferrari. This team is a Ferrari and Tua is driving it. Like, it's not, Tua is not the Ferrari. Lamar is a Ferrari. Justin Herbert is a Ferrari. Mahomes is a Ferrari. Josh Allen is a Ferrari. This team is a Ferrari. Same thing with the Niners. Like, the Niners roster is loaded. Jimmy Garoppolo is nothing special. Tua is in the same boat as the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins, and why I didn't move the Dolphins as high as other people, I've seen someone rank the Dolphins at 3, which is insane. They got bodied for 3 quarters. Like, let's be honest. They got bodied for 3 quarters. They beat up on a young secondary, and they're going to come back to earth this week when they play the Bills. If they beat the Bills, I will clip this and post it and say what an idiot I am. I just think that the Bills are going to, like, those underthrown balls are picks against the Bills. So I'm not trying to discredit the Dolphins. I'm just trying to temper expectations. I think the Dolphins, like, I have them power ranked 9. Like, how could you say I'm hating? Like, if I hated Tua, I would put them at 16. Like, I just think that Tua is good. Like, I said this before. Like, it's going to come to a point where the Dolphins are going to win games, and we're going to be asking ourselves, is Tua elite? Like, it's already happening, and I just think that it's silly. I just think it's silly. So I got the Dolphins at 9, keeping a close eye on them. Mike McDaniels is legit. This team is legit. I mean, there's Kirk Cousins and his favorite receiver, Darius Slay. Like, what happens to Kirk Cousins on Monday night? Like, it is a phenomenon. Like, it should, like, Kirk Cousins on Monday night is a phenomenon. Kirk on Monday nights is why I will never, ever trust the Vikings in the playoffs. Ever. Ever. This dude just, like, if you've played sports in high school even, like that one chick who's there that you have a crush on comes to watch you, like you're not trying to ball out. Like Kirk Cousins, the whole world is watching you and you just shrivel. Like, it's just so insane to me how it happens. And, like, I'm trying not to move being too hard on the Vikings. I had them at 5. So the Vikings previously ranked 5, now power ranked 8. But, like, we knew Kirk Cousins was going to lose this game. I bet on I thought they were going to keep it close, but, like, I didn't think Kirk would throw 3 picks and get blown out. So I'm not trying to hold it against him too much because Kirk is just bad on Mondays. If this was a 1 o'clock game, maybe it's different. But Vikings are still an elite roster. They're still a juggernaut on offense. I still really like Kevin O'Connell. I probably could have moved them below the Dolphins, but again, it's 1 week, and we know Kirk is bad on Mondays. So, like, I'm not trying to, like, crucify the Vikings for that. So, Vikings at 8, going to keep a close eye on them as well. Rams at 7. I think that my criticism of the Rams was accurate. I think it stayed true for another week. They are weak on the left side of the offensive line, and they are very bad at running the football. Those 2 things need to get better if they want to go back to the Super Bowl. Cooper Kupp is still him. I think Matthew Stafford's elbow is a legitimate concern. They're just not pushing the ball down the field like they did at the end of last season, or even all of last season. I think losing Odell hurts. I think that's starting to hurt them more and more. I think they need to run the ball. Like, I think that if Matthew Stafford's elbow is truly a problem, they need to do better at running the football. And I think that they'll be fine on the left side. I think it's just going to take some time. But yeah, I got the Rams at 7, previously ranked 6. I've only moved them down a spot. Gonna keep an eye on them. Definitely want to monitor that Stafford situation, like the elbow situation, because if that's a real thing, I think this team's dead in the water. If they can't attack that deep third like they did last season, it's gonna be a problem. So I got the Rams at 7, keeping a close eye on them. Ravens at 6, previously ranked 4, moving them down a spot. Two reasons I'm really moving them down. Other teams moved up, and their offense is bad right now. Lamar Jackson is not real. He's not a real human being. Rashad Bateman is everything they hoped for. Mark Andrews is Mark Andrews, but they need J.K. Dobbins back, and they need him to be 100%, and he's just not going to be because he tore his ACL. It's just facts. They need Gus Edwards back, and he's not going to be 100% because he tore his ACL. Like, in my opinion, if I am the Ravens, I am calling teams about running backs. I will call the Vikings and be like, what do you want for Alexander Madison? What do the Broncos want for Melvin Gordon? Like, you need to get someone in here that's going to help Lamar Jackson on the ground. Like, I just think that you need to, like that's such an important part of your game. You need to do something to fix it. Like, it just, I don't know. I think that, who'd they draft? They drafted a running back. I forget who it was, but I don't know what he looks like. I don't even know if he's played yet. Isaiah Likely looks pretty good. He had five targets, 4 receptions. I think that this offense just needs another element to it, and they need to do something to take some weight off Lamar. Definitely don't take the ball out of his hands. That's not what I'm saying, but he needs help. Like, he does need help. Like, this ground attack needs work. And I think that, Marcus Peters is hurt already. And their other corner, who I'm blanking on, he's hurt as well. But I think the Ravens are still one of the best rosters of football. I think they just need to they'll be more annoying to play later in the year. I was skeptical. I had the Eagles at 12, and my only criticism was I just want to see it another week. And I saw it, and they're legit. The Eagles are 100% legit. Jalen Hurts is now attacking the middle of the field, which is something he never did last year. Always was throwing outside the numbers or scrambling. He's running very efficiently, very hard, downhill, making things happen with his legs. This offensive line, they're averaging the most yards before contact for ball carriers. A.J. Brown, superstar receiver that's nearly, I think A.J. Brown, in my opinion, A.J. Brown is the hardest receiver in the NFL to tackle. And I think I'm putting him over Debo in that respect. I think A.J. Brown could definitely play the Debo role and probably play it better, to be honest. He's just such a freak. I think A.J. Brown is so good at football. Such a good trade by the Eagles. That was such a good trade. The Eagles are just doing everything right. There's really no weakness to this team. I think the only weakness is going to be potentially Jalen Hurts, and he looks fine. My thing was accuracy. I think he completed, 70% of his passes last night? Or 2 nights ago? Today's Wednesday. He looks fine. So I'm not worried about the Eagles. The Eagles at 5. They are arguably the best team in the NFC. At rank 4, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you could be saying, Mike, how do you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers above the Eagles? Well, here's why. Previously ranked 9. Their defense is elite. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is in the realm of elite, and I would not be surprised if we see them play the Eagles again in the playoffs. And they're winning with no one. It's just Tom Brady making it work with... Who did he even have last week? He had Russell Gage, who got hurt in the middle of the game, I think. Mike Evans was there. He's suspended now. And I think Leonard Fournette's hurt. If they could keep winning with no offense, then when they're healthy, good luck stopping them. Because they're deep. Todd Bowles, defensive coordinator, now head coach, is elite. He has his defense rolling. And the thing with the defense last year was the defense was hurt and the offense was healthy. And they were still winning games. Now it's flipped. The offense is hurt and the defense is healthy. And the defense, sure, they played Dak but they pooped on Dak. And they played Jameis, 3 turnovers from Jameis, who I've seen the Saints power ranked as high as 6. Like, this team is going to be fine. If anybody's concerned about Tom Brady and what's going on off the field, don't be. This team is totally fine. They're the best team in the NFC, in my opinion. The Eagles are close behind them, but I'm not worried about it. I think I'm very excited for this Bucks Packers game. But if the Bucks lose, I don't think it matters as much because they're so hurt on offense. If they win, it means so much more than if they lost, in my opinion. So just keep that in mind. Very excited to watch that game. Bucks at 4. Previously ranked 3, still ranked 3. I got the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm just going to call a spade here. Patrick Mahomes threw 4 picks that game. Like, they weren't all counted, but even if I think he ended the game with 0 picks. If he throws 1 pick, they lose that game. If Justin Herbert doesn't break his ribs, they lose that game. Because that pick 6 was after Justin Herbert was hurt, I think, but it was definitely after Gerald Everett was trying to get out of the game. And he was like, it was very, like, that's kind of where I'm like, we're really going to dial up a play for the dude who either just got hurt or is trying to come off the field on the goal line. Like that, what? They also were missing Corey Linsley. He got hurt in the middle of the game, and they were missing Keenan Allen, huge receiver on that team, like arguably the most important receiver on that team. And I think he really, like, I like Mike Williams. I think Mike Williams might be better at this point in their careers, but I think that the security blanket for Justin Herbert in Keenan Allen is way more impactful than Mike Williams is. They were both missing. But the Chiefs, like, no doubt, I'm not trying to take anything away from the Chiefs. No doubt the Chiefs are a top 3 team in the NFL. If you want to put them at 2, if you want to put them 2 or 1, or 3 or 2, no doubt. I don't have any complaints with that. If you get mad at me for putting them at 3, that's fine. You could be right. You could make a case where they should be at 2. But to base it off of just that win, nah, I can't do that. The defense for the Chiefs way better than I thought it was going to be, and I thought the Chiefs' defense was going to be good. I thought the Chiefs' defense was going to kind of float them through the beginning of the season until this offense started clicking, but the offense is already clicking. So, like, now they just have a good defense. George Karlaftis looks sick. Trent McDuffie looks sick, and the offense is still rolling. So, I think this might be the best Chiefs team of the Mahomes-Reed era. Like, I think that they're just such a more complete team now with Tyreek Hill. That they're just, like, not a team you want to play ever, especially in the playoffs. At rank 2, previously ranked 2, I have the Chargers. I still think the Chargers have arguably the best roster in all of football. They arguably have the best edge duo in all of football in Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. Sorry, that bothers you, cracking knuckles noise. I just think the Chargers, like, that when they play the Chiefs at home, with a healthy roster, that game looks different. And I think that game, like, they almost won that game hurt. So, yeah, the Chiefs are 2-0. Yeah, they're at the top of the division, but I still think the Chargers are the best team in that division. I have the Chargers predicted to win that division. I'm not wavering because they lost to the Chiefs in week 2 with broken ribs Justin Herbert, no Corey Linsley, and no Keenan Allen. Like, I'm not worried about that. They just also have such good depth. The one weak point on the Chargers that I think will lose them games, important games, is Brandon Staley. I was high on him last year, and now that, like, he's kind of abandoned going for it on 4th down ever, that's kind of concerning to me. Like, I think you still should have that aggression. The other concerning thing for me about the Chargers is, like, you have Justin Herbert, who arguably has a top 3 arm in the NFL, top 5, top 3. Why aren't you attacking down the field? Like, you have the weapons, you have the personnel to do it, you have the offensive line to do it, you have a quarterback who can do it. Why are you not attacking down the field? That just doesn't make sense to me. You could still be aggressive and not go for it on 4th down. Like, you could do both things, and, like, it just seems like he doesn't want to. And Justin Herbert throwing that absolute piss missile after he broke his ribs is just it just goes to show how good of a quarterback, how gritty of a quarterback Justin Herbert is. He wanted to win that game with broken ribs. So like, I can't move the Chargers down because of that loss. If I'm good, like the argument to be made of flipping the Chiefs Chargers would be coaching. I would agree that they should be flipped based off of that point alone. But just for talking about the rosters and the people on the field, I can't flip them because one team lost to the other. So Chargers at 2. And a team we really don't need to talk too much about. Previously ranked 1, still ranked 1. Probably won't ever not be ranked 1, even though I had them at ranked 3 at the beginning of the season. I'm an idiot. The Buffalo Bills, like 2-0. They just mercied, essentially. You can't mercy a team in football, but if you could, the Bills did it to the Titans. 41-7. They pulled Derrick Henry. They pulled Ryan Tannehill. They put Malik Willis in. It was just another quarter of preseason football, that fourth quarter. Diggs had 3 touchdowns. No Gabe Davis, no problem. Josh Allen isn't real. They still okay, this would make sense for me if I was the Chiefs, because I think this makes your team like just so much better next year. If they traded up for Bijan Robinson, like I think that would be like the cherry on top, because then they have a premier running back who is a deep threat as well. Like Bijan Robinson is one of the best running back prospects ever, and if the Bills traded up to get him in the first round, I would be so happy. So that's the only talking point I really have about the Bills. I think the Bills will continue to blow out teams. I'm very curious to see the final score for this Miami game, because I think that the Bills should blow them out. Not that I think that they're that much better than Miami. I think if the Bills are in close games, like that's where they lose. I know that's weird, but like look at their wins and losses the past. Just go back into last year and look at their wins and losses. They're all blowouts. Like 90% of them are blowouts. So, I don't know. I think this defense is going to be really difficult for Tua to deal with, even with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So we'll see. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for me. That's going to do it for our Week 3 power rankings. Very curious to see what happens in Week 3, because I think teams are finding their identity. A lot of teams are in do or die mode already, like the Bengals, the Colts, the Raiders, the Titans. Just looking around this board real quick. Yeah, like a lot of these teams that we thought were going to be good, like need to bounce back. I think the Broncos need to make a statement win, because they are just a talking point for every media outlet ever. But anyways, that's going to do it for me. That's going to do it for this video. Catch us next week in our Power Rankings videos. We have more fantasy content coming out this week. I've just been a little bit behind because, being a new dad and stuff. I'm also doing on Instagram and Twitter. If you follow us on Instagram or Twitter, I will follow you back. The only thing you have to do is subscribe and comment on the video, your Instagram or Twitter handle, and I will follow you back. So subscribe, follow the Instagram or Twitter, whichever you have, and then comment on the video, your Twitter handle or Instagram handle, and I'll follow you back. I'm going to be doing that for a while, so if this video doesn't get too many views, we're going to do it for a good bit. So if you want an Instagram follower, you want a Twitter follower, follow this channel, and I'll hit you back. But anyways, I'll catch you in the next video. That's going to do it for me. Thanks for tuning into the Pylon Cam. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!